Man, love the pictures at the end of that intro. Isn't that something? Okay, hello, welcome. NAGP TV's continuing coverage on Monday nights here. Season 34 coming at you, the 10th round here at Monza. About 50 million things to get to, and hardly any time at all in which to do it. First of all, I am not Al Marimon, clearly, as he is the PMR du jour teammate tonight for PMR. Al going to fill in for, let's call it the beleaguered PMR teammate situation. We have just switched over here to qualifying, but nonetheless, it is myself, and I, Brad Mears, your host for this evening, controlling the pictures. And way back in the distant ether of time, I managed the pictures and the race broadcast there a couple times by myself, but it's been a while. So hopefully you'll excuse, and I'll apologize in advance for any slight miscues. Could happen, probably will, but at least we'll all experience it together. So Monza, as stated. Look, I could bring up the track map. I could, we could do all that, but there's no need. It's Monza, right? We all know Monza, and we know Matt Taylor in the thick of this championship fight here. And honestly, with looking really good tonight relative to some of his competition. We'll get into some of that, but the way this season championship is shaping up, I mean, wow. This is a big deal tonight. And Matt Taylor, of those championship contenders, which we'll get into, not carrying a whole bunch of weight compared to those championship rivals tonight. And you know what? That's going to make a difference here at Monza. No question about it. So, Gup chiming in. Thank you, Gup. Okay, but let's take a quick look here at a lap at Monza, around with Matt Taylor, first to act, and coming around Parabolica. Look, we all know and more or less love the track. Some maybe like it, love it more than others. But across the start-finish line, of course, it's all about the massive speed, right? It's the Greta Filio first chicane coming up here. Got to get away with some super late braking, which, by the way, you can do. But you got to get the power down nice and early coming out of that chicane, because just one chicane leads to a big long straight, right? But that was managed pretty well there by Matt Taylor through the first chicane and the second Rosia chicane. Braking somewhere just after the 100-meter sign, I should think. Want to get super close to the curbing. Taylor's done that very well again. Also nicely on the throttle on exit as well. Coming through the Lesmos now. Lesmo 1. Definitely want to make sure you're toward the inside. Always kind of an awkward entry there. And no less so than... Whoa, taking it very wide there through off of Lesmo 2. But yeah, both those entries into the Lesmos, a little awkward, but definitely need to get off Lesmo 2 very well, of course, coming up now to the Scari chicane. And let's see, using some of the curving, maybe a little bit too much there on entry actually for Matt Taylor. Could have cost him a little bit. Getting that best maximum drive off down the backstretch here, heading up to Parabolica, which will end his lap. Let's see what kind of times Matt Taylor's showing. Now, I have to say, despite not having much weight here, Matt Taylor, only 5 kilograms, not looking necessarily great in terms of his rivals in the official practice sessions and the week of timing leading up here. So, approximately the 39.7. Well, that's a good opening salvo, but it's going to take a bit more than that, I think, if Matt Taylor expects to be toward the front row tonight. So, there you go. Times now coming in. Chris Moses sliding in second at the moment, and he was right up there in the week of practice times. 30.2 was his best lap, 39.2. So we figure he's got a bit more in there. Early time also, Jake Feemster, well and truly involved in this championship fight, both on the driver's side and team side. One of those drivers actually not carrying so much weight tonight, but currently with the third best time. And let's see, David Zahn has it beached at the moment. So there you go. There's your early running in terms of that at the moment. Now, real quickly, I mentioned this championship fight as we watch Taylor as he moves to set sector times here. Very close battle. Not maybe so much on the team side as it is on the driver's side. A big 5 drivers with Mansky, Taylor, Feemster, DeGraw, of course. Parsons all in there with a fighting shot with a full 3 rounds to go here. Left to run in the Season 34 championship. So, very important race, very important qualifying, really. You want to be toward really, you want to be in the first couple 3 rows, let's call it. The top 2 would be the best. But take a chance of any kind of mid-pack mishaps there. Going into a very tricky opening turn 1, and Matt Taylor does increase his time to 39.2. That's going to be the second or third best time we've seen on the server this week. So Matt Taylor maybe sandbagging just a little bit there on the official practice times, not wanting to show his hand. It's a very nice time here in the qualifying session leading up to this race. On board now with Chris Moses. Chris Moses looking to do something special. Just incredibly dismal season, Chris Moses. Ooh, Feemster, Jake Feemster now clocking in with a nice time as well there, provisionally in second. Chris Moses came away with a 4th place last week. We'll get to also, unfortunately, dropped the coverage. That was my fault there. I apologize for that, for dropping the ball on the coverage last week. Ran into some technical issues, but Moses ran a 4th place out there, but it was all the way back through the first race of the season, or Interlagos Moses podium. Really the only bright spot, that first race of the season at Interlagos for Moses, been very dismal since then, but pretty sharp here tonight, and I think if you're Chris Moses, he has pretty high expectations of trying to salvage something from the season, notch another win, and I apologize, he was on an outlap, but I did want to get to that as part of the news and notes that I was kind of thinking about, just kind of remarking on it. This really has to be one of Moses' worst seasons to date, frankly. So, looking for a little bit of rebound there. So, well, he has, it's Myers now. It's crept up the scoring pylon here, provisionally up to 4th, and that's a pretty big jump up. And you know what? A pretty darn good time there with that 40.3, as good as we've seen him run, really. In the, well, we might as well go back to Moses now with putting in a pretty good first sector time there at 0.1. So obviously in line for a lot of improvement. Somewhere along the way here, heading out through that Lesmo 2 chicane. Taking a little curving on the inside. Ooh, spinner in front, Iggy Chiordia. Getting it wrong there through Lesmo 2 and good steep Franco. That's the great thing in sim racing. They should get those mechanicals fixed awful quickly. Quick escape back to the pits will do that. Just a little slide there through the entrance to Ascari, but really not held very well through the middle portion. Still should be pretty well up on his time. Ooh, I left the performance delta up, so that tells us something right there, really. He's not looking to have improved his time very much here. I don't think that he's going to do any better on this lap. Yeah, second sector time sure confirms it, right? So David's on within the top 10 provisionally here and looking very sharp in practice. Up there toward the top 8, 7, 8 in best times during the course of the week. Right now 1.5 seconds off, which equates to a 40.8 out there on track. So David Zahn has a bit more in the tank, but hasn't hit a lap yet. But nonetheless, I did want to get to the fact that he has turned some pretty good times here. And looks to be in pretty good shape. Again, a good 4 or 5 drivers, all carrying at least 30 kilograms. And it is making a difference. We'll get to those drivers as we kind of get to them. John Houston now did not see the lap in which he put in for that 3rd place provisionally, but it obviously was a pretty good lap. And look, his qualifying prowess of John Houston, we've talked with him, he knows it as well as anybody. He does look a pretty good qualifying now and then. But frankly, not maybe his forte, but looking pretty sharp at the moment. Now, let's try to find somebody on a hot lap, so we can follow him around here. Now, David Zahn, only 0.5 off there through the second sector. So, looking pretty good here as he heads onto the back stretch down toward Parabolica. And he is probably looking for some pretty big improvement. Again, that performance delta is up, so he's a half second up on his time. And it could be a nice run up toward the top 5. He gets it a little wide there coming through Parabolica, but nonetheless still increasing that performance delta, and it's up to 4 at Frazan. So yeah, just almost a full second off of that provisional pole time, but still pretty good improvement there. Now, figuring into, well, we'll get to Parsons later when he's on a lap. Here we go. Jesse Olsen looking pretty sharp there in practice. Again in that Stillman roll, but he is now part of what can be really described as kind of a defunct French Connection team. Boy, he came in a fill-in role for Ian Jolicoeur as the second part of the... Oh, that's not going to work for Jesse Olsen, and the result of low downforce there, I think, is pretty telling around Parabolica. Joel Ekman now looking very sharp in the first sector. But the French Connection, we'll want to get to that too, because that's a big news that we missed from last week. Again, when I dropped the ball in that coverage. Philippe Simard inexplicably out for the rest of the season, which nonetheless you have to think puts the French Connection well and truly involved in that team championship battle out as well. So Jesse Olsen came in a fill-in role for Ian Jolicoeur, and now Jolicoeur's not here still, but nor is Philippe Simard. So some sad news there, but not looking so sad right now for Joel Ekman as he looks to improve. Has put in some nice results. Oh, again, very loose on entry there for Joel Ekman. As, again, I keep forgetting, I do need to maneuver some of the camera angles now and then. Don't let me forget, chime in, and Joel Ekman does make a nice run up again, about a second off. So Taylor did something pretty darn special there in the last couple sectors to give him that 39.2, which still stands, by the way, about halfway through this session. So let us take a quick rundown as we are about halfway through now. It is Matt Taylor taking it off at Lesmo 2. We've seen that by more than one driver just in this quick session. Teamster provisionally still in that second place, now beginning a hot lap, so maybe we'll rotate back through quick enough to get back to him. John Houston runs third provisionally, so looking good, and a big part of this team's hopes now. Really, they're the best chance, not too far behind the French Connection, now defunct French Connection, to challenge Captain Clutch for that team. So we'll see how he does. David's on, still holding down fourth, but John Watson has jumped up to fifth now provisionally. So typically ran down the provisional order here, but also would have missed John Watson's fine run up about halfway through this session. So looking good there. Joel Ekman, we saw his time, but he kind of slotted sixth due to that Watson run. And Parsons is taking it off for whatever reason. Maybe got in some traffic, but running seventh and is among those with the big weight on that chassis tonight. So Kevin Lekmansky also, I think he's carrying the most weight tonight. I think he's the one that's carrying the 45 kilograms, and it is showing. So if he wants to make a run in this individual drivers championship, finish ahead of those other rivals tonight, he's going to have to figure something out. That's weight to be carrying around. We'll stick on board as he as well looks like he's Moses still has not gotten down to a time. We saw him run a 39.2 as well in the official practice session, but nowhere near that at the moment. Maybe we'll stay on board long enough to have him clip through his second sector. Oh no, he's just now beginning. So again, we'll cycle back in. Gregory Myers, saw him really open up this with a bang early in this qualifying session. This was the 10th fence. Jesse Olsen, again was showing good speed, but maybe he has more race pace than he does qualifying pace. So really, you're looking at now only 1.2 all the way seconds back, all the way back to 11th place. So really not too bad, really in terms of overall time. So and here's the boss right here. And another one, Lesmo 2 claims another victim. And that's the exact type of slide we've seen. Everybody losing it at the rear over the curbing on throttle. So interesting. Seems we've seen the guys losing it on entry into Parabolica, but on exit at Lesmo 2. So there's another one going through Lesmo 2. DeGraw does get a little squirrely, but Van manages to hold on to it. So DeGraw, whoa, another spinner at Lesmo 2. They're just dropping like flies at that corner. Hopefully magnets out there or something. Those earth magnets. Doing some funny stuff with those things, pretty powerful. but Mark DeGraw now currently only slated 13th, so another good thing we did our field rundown. We might have missed that, and he is currently on an out lap. He's going to need to do better than that because he's definitely going to want to advance. When you have a fill-in driver like Al come in, you definitely don't want to finish behind those guys if you're one of the championship leaders. And as far as championship leaders go, this guy's it, right? He's the top of the pops at the moment, but that lead is only 1 point, right? So, yeah. Well, anyway, we'll get to that. It is Chuck Carter now running in the 14th spot provisionally. So Chuck Carter, it hasn't been maybe what can be called a great season for Chuck Carter, but he has attended the majority of the races, for some good points, garnered some good points over the course of the season, and right now it's not looking that shabby, running 41.7 for his best lap. Ryan Story, currently a 42 flat. He definitely would like to be a slightly better time than that. Maybe Jordan saw him off a couple times here at Leslie, so hopefully on this lap he manages to hold it together. It looks like he's beginning another lap, under 10 minutes to go here, so these guys are definitely looking to improve. Dale Ballwig, relative newcomer here to NAGP. I have to say, I haven't had a chance to talk with Dale recently, but from everything that I've heard and the times I have talked to him, he's enjoying his time here at NAGP, and I suspect we're going to have the opportunity and pleasure to see Dale Ballwig around for many seasons to come. So he's been a great addition. Omar Gomez circulating down there toward the rear of the field at the moment, and frankly, not looking all that great in terms of time. So hopefully he's gotten more practice than it appears, or if he hasn't, he keeps both eyes on the mirror and is able to kind of let the traffic through. Kevin Miller is at the bottom of the pylon tonight, but probably only because he is serving no qualifying. So, there you go. Yeah, boost beef. So, frankly, honestly, not 100% sure. I have to run some odd graphical settings with my ultra-wide monitor, and I think a little something got lost in translation with the broadcast software talking with the display. I think something got a little mixed up there, but we should be good to go in the future. And hey, look, we all want Al to have a break now and then, right? So it's important that he gets that break and the opportunity to race one of his favorite tracks now and then. Looks like at least we're sorted in the short term, and I make no guarantees going forward, but for now, back to the action. Very little movement, with the exception, I would say, of, well, a couple notable exceptions, really. Chris Moses jumping up to 4th, and Kevin Lichmansky also jumping up nicely now into the 5th spot. That could be very important for him with the amount of weight that he is carrying in his championship hopes going forward. So nice improvement for both those guys, and a bit of a sigh of relief maybe toward the very tail end of this qualifying session. They can really try to put the hammer down now that they've got a little bit of safety. It's still good to draw in our championship mix back there in 13th. We'll keep an eye on him, but for now it is Chris Moses coming to the line, improved slightly with his time, but not position. So I guess he did actually. So slots now into the 3rd position, displacing John Houston now. So that's going to be a good improvement. Chris Moses provisionally on the 2nd row. John Houston through the 1st sector does not look so great through the first sector, right? So about a second off to there. That is not quite going to get the job done. David Zahn on a lap, coming to the line, but quite a bit off in the 2nd sector himself. So no improvement for David Zahn on that lap, and we're now covered in the top 11 by only about 1 second. So it's tightening up quite a bit, I would say. And good point, Boost Beef. We do see teams do take an opportunity, especially late in qualifying, to try to organize a little bit of drafting, which, by the way, does make quite a big difference. It can be a little difficult to coordinate, but if done right, it can certainly pay dividends. We'll switch over. Ooh, okay, Jesse Olsen has now popped up into the 7th spot, and that's a big jump up for Jesse Olsen as he was kind of languishing back a little bit. So now only 9/10 off himself there, that provisional pole time, and he's going to have a couple more laps to try to even improve on that. John Wathen holds down the 10th spot now, provisionally. Also within 1 second of that time, so these guys are on it now. And back up to one of our championship contenders. Mansky now 5/10 off to the 2nd sector, coming through a Scary chicane, and that would look pretty good. Coming off the exit, might have held some very good speed. His Delta is showing him just a bit off of his best time, but look, Parabolica is always the corner you think, come on, I can get away with a little more here. There's got to be a way. I just take it a little deeper, and you know what he did? And well, there's your result coming off. It just didn't quite work out, but you always know there's got to be another 10th or 2 there. So it doesn't look like he is going to improve on that lap. It is Jake Feemster now. Ooh, looking very good through the 1st sector, but gave a bit up through the 2nd sector. So it doesn't look like Jake Feemster is going to expect any improvement here on one of his final laps. These guys, only 1 or 2 more coming through. John Houston now looking good through the 2nd sector. So another guy looking to get it done through Parabolica, and he is holding some pretty good speed. Coming off, we're cheating by looking at the performance delta. I was going to turn it off to kind of keep everybody in suspense. But I left it up, and so we'll roll with it. Matt Taylor now up big into Parabolica. Good through the 2nd sector, good through Parabolica, and I think he is in line for a little bit of improvement. This is going to be kind of dismaying to the rest of the field, I think. As indeed. So turns, I think that is the best time on the server in the week of practice. So that's a big deal. I mean, that's what you're looking to do if you're kind of expecting a good performance, right? That's the way you want to start it off. And if you're Matt Taylor, you're going to take that bonus point if you can get it in this qualifying session. So good on him. But it's Jake Feemster now looking to respond and looking damn good coming through Lesmo too. Not falling victim to that rare earth magnet in the Armco. The pressure just is going to build and build and build toward the end of this lap. Okay, gotta hit it clean, gotta hit it fast. A little bit coming through the Ascari chicane there, but still in there with a shot to improve his time. That man, it's going to be tough to pick up 3/10, but you know Jake is going to give it everything he possibly can. No need to hold back. Takes it very deep into Parabolica and gets away with it, but he's going to scrub off the lap. And you know what? He may have time to get out for another lap, but maybe a quick change and back out for another lap. I want to stay on board real quick to see if he's gonna try to get out. Moses looking good through the 1st sector. He is. Okay, so he's back on track. He's going to probably have just enough time. Moses looking good now through the 1st sector. Up big. Got through the Rogia chicane very nicely, and up even bigger coming through Lesmo 1. So Moses on a big-time flyer here, and talk about the pressure building. This is it, his last opportunity to get everything just right. And, Al Marimon turning his best lap now, and let's take a look over at the scoring pylon. Comes up to 12th. So really, since he's been focusing, Al Marimon that is, just on race pace, pretty good move up for Al. Okay, Chris Moses now giving up a little bit of time here, but still in the hunt for some big improvement in his overall time. And if you can't get on pole, at least you want to make improvement, right? Nice move. Has finally put a bit of a lap together. Only just got it done a little too late. Moses will improve his time, but not his position. Taylor up big once again, but let's make sure we don't miss a John Houston 2nd sector time. Lesmo 2 claiming another, this time Jesse Olsen. John now coming up to that second sector split. Somewhere right before the Scary chicane. 0.6 off, so right on his time. But that is not going to do it in terms of advancing his position. Taylor still, just caught the tail end of that. He was going for it all at a Scary, and it's going to come to naught, but I don't think it's going to matter as we check in now with Aaron Parsons carrying a good 35 kilograms of his own in 7th, and really one of the better positioned of those carrying weight here. But if you can get some improvement, you'll definitely take it. We see somebody else. I think that was Vaughn. They're having so much trouble there at Lesmo too. Unbelievable. Now here's through Ascari. Aaron Parsons looks like he's going to be one of the last to act here. So we're going to get the opportunity to finish off this qualifying session here on board. But he is a couple tenths off of his personal time. So he has only, really, the only thing left to play for is a couple positions. And you know what? I think he's got a great shot. Or he did. Okay, he's gonna scrub off the lap. But you know what? 7th place, not so bad. And I think that's about as good as you could have expected there late in the game. In 7th place, sometimes you just that's the best you can do. But teammate John Houston, pretty well positioned there in 4th. So T-Brock Dam Bam not off to such a bad start here in this qualifying session. I think that's going to do it. Surely Moses didn't get across the line in time, right? And still, well, it's not going to matter anyway because he's way off. But he's got a solid 4 minutes to, solid 4 or 5 minutes to get back in, and he'll get everything sorted and jump back in. Quite call it just yet until we have absolute confirmation, and there it is. So, yeah, Matt Taylor's going to get the job done there for this the round 10 here at Monza. Whew, so pretty spirited little qualifying session, really all things said. Jake Feemster put in a very nice time for second, and Chris Moses, I know didn't talk to them, but I know he's got some high hopes here for this race, and you definitely want to start up there to give yourself the best opportunity, because again, that first corner, look, everybody's going to get through there great. The whole field's going to get off to a pro start. Get through that first chicane absolutely great, and we're going to have a great race. But you don't want to take the chance, right? So Jake Feemster there in second, Chris Moses in third, John Houston put in a very nice time for T-Brock Dam Bam, and David Zahn will round out your top 5. So it did end up being a very nice time for David Zahn, and he did prove good pace as noted there in the week of practice. So I'm not going to put up a graphic of our standings, but I will say what they are right now. It is Mark DeGraw, who did not ever really get out of the back position there in qualifying, so he's going to have a tough start. But he comes away with the consolation of leading this season 34 championship by a single point. He has 150 points to Kevin Lickmansky's 149 points. So one single point of difference there between Mark DeGraw and Kevin Lickmansky, and that is going to be a battle that we're going to have to watch here tonight, because as it stands right now, Kevin Lickmansky really gaining a lot of points as they sit on the grid here over Mark DeGraw. But it is Matt Taylor who, of course, has picked up himself a championship point. He now has 145 points, so only 5 behind championship leader DeGraw, and Aaron Parsons there at 132 is right in there, and it's looking like it's going to be the top 4 here in serious contention. But I mean, toss a coin with those 4 drivers. It's Philippe Samard in 5th, but again, he has retired from the season, so he's more or less out. So it's John Houston there in a virtual 5th place with 104 points. Not too shabby, but looking a little dim in terms of winning that Drivers' Championship. Now, it's Mark DeGraw and Matt Taylor, the Captain Clutch duo. They're leading the team classification with 294 points. The French Connection hanging on with 238. Now, Jesse Olsen is out there picking up points for that team still, but without a second half of that team, it's looking a little dismal. And it's T-Brock Dam Bam, that of course is Aaron Parsons and John Houston. They're holding down the virtual second spot with 236. So 50 points back, more or less, a little less than that. So doable for those guys. If T-Brock Dam Bam runs into a little trouble, could happen. And it's Squeaky Wheels there in fourth place. Of course, that's Kevin Lekmansky and Jake Feemster. Both those guys putting in a very fine qualifying performance here tonight. So there you go. Let's quickly look before we do our field rundown and take a look at the balance of performance tab there. 35 kilos for Kevin Lekmansky, Aaron Parsons 30, Mark DeGraw 45, and Al Merrimont has the 20 kilos for not competing, but in that championship mix, you see it there at the top, only 5 kilograms for Matt Taylor, and that's why he was so excited coming into tonight to take the lion's share of points and maybe try to get himself a big lead over the last couple championship rounds. So, leading from pole, it's Matt Taylor. Jake Feemster is going to slot beside him in second. Chris Moses is going to take over third. John Houston is in fourth. David Zahn, nice time there for fifth. Kevin Lekmansky starts sixth. Aaron Parsons is in seventh. John Wathen, nice time for eighth. Jesse Olsen put in also a nice time for ninth. Gregory Myers in the top 10. Joel Ekman takes 11th. Mark DeGraw takes 12th. Al Merrimont, the boss, is in 13th. Chuck Carter takes 14th. Iggy Chiorda takes 15th. Brian Story in 16th. Dale Baldwin in 17th. Omar Gomez 18th. And Kevin Miller 19th. So I would say, it's a little late in the season, somewhat of a shorter grid, but it's, who we have left are the serious contenders. I mean, these are the guys that have put in the time, and these are the guys that are ready to put on the great race. So here we go from Monza. And the 10th round, it's a big start for Chris Moses, just kind of parting of the Red Seas out front, and he is going to take over the lead temporarily. Let's see what happens into the first chicane. No, disaster for the two up front. Oh, it was Lekmansky, or rather, excuse me, it was not Lekmansky, but our second place runner, and Moses coming to grief there. And oh my God, I'm not going to say we saw it coming, but we kind of saw it coming, and it's Matt Taylor, big beneficiary now, gets out to the lead, and John Houston also big beneficiary. Actually, really, the field did a great job getting through that incident, but that is one we could be talking about here for a while. I think, looking quickly down through the order, I think our championship contenders more or less got through as Matt Taylor is being pressured quickly now by John Houston. Going to have to wait and see how this shakes out. John Houston, big run on the outside coming into the Ascari chicane. I think Matt Taylor's got to give it up. He is going to stick in. Both guys being very careful, and John Wathen just has rocketed from his night spot on the grid, running third. How the heck did that happen? Unbelievable. Still fighting for the lead now, John Houston and Matt Taylor. Big drafts coming behind down the straight. And John Houston will definitely solidify his lead going into Parabolica. And I think that is going to settle things at the front for the moment, but it is John Wathen now putting the pressure on. Do not want to see a repeat of what we saw lap one with the first front row. And it's Taylor holding on to the spot. John Wathen, I can't tell who backed off there, but it almost looked like Taylor was running higher downforce or something the way Houston took advantage on the back straight, but it must have just been a good run through the coming off the Ascari chicane, and now Ekman looking to make the move on Kevin Lekmansky. Remember, it is Lekmansky with all that weight ballast, and that is definitely going to slow him down tonight. So he is going to want to be careful, and it's Ekman through to that 4th position over Kevin Lukmansky. And just how many spots is Lukmansky going to give up here before he settles into position? If that weight is indeed slowing him down. In any event, I guess Jesse Olsen will tell that tale. But oh man, so check back quickly. Chris Moses has cycled back now to the 13th position. In fact, well, in any event, we'll sort out what happened there at this. Oh, missing the lap counter. Oh, thank you. Let's just see if we can find that. Oh, interesting. I see the lap counter. It's underneath the deal. Well, do me a favor, chime in on how to move that. And if not, well, it's hidden behind the banner at the top. But thanks for chiming in on that. Yeah, so anyway, like I said, it's been a while since I've controlled the pictures and run the broadcast, and I am here single, so I hope you guys will forgive a little bit of discombobulation now and then, but you don't want to miss out on what action there is out there, because right now it is Joel Ekman who suddenly finds himself in the 4th spot, and I think, oh, Moses out quickly, so you have to wonder if he got involved in some traffic or was trying to push a little too hard to make up those spots, and that is going to be just an incredible disappointment for Chris Moses. And let's just hope the Discord does not explode. Let's just hope. This is a session. Okay, I will look at that momentarily. Because that was a big deal there for those guys involved in that. But good action here, of course. A little deeper in the field. David Zahn shuffled back a little bit. And okay, I'll just be honest with you. I did get a little confused as to who did have the contact the most. You guys might even know better than I am, and that's what I'm struggling with coming up here. And I'm wondering if it wasn't David Zahn, and somewhere or other, David Zahn obviously got bottled up in that incident, or was a part of it. But he has now, of course, got something back to 11. And we know that he does have very good pace, so this is a very tight battle between some very speedy contestants here, including their championship leader, looking to make the move-ons on and move with a lot of weight. And you know, the thing is, trying to make the double move now on Myers. I think Myers, very heads-up driver. He's going to understand that Mark DeGraw is involved here in the championship. And he's going to be pretty careful around a guy like that. Now, he's not going to give him the spot, but he is going to make sure that he is pretty careful as he's looking to get a little racy headed into the Rosio chicane. But Myers is going to come away with that spot for now, so Mark DeGraw will have to reset and try to make that move again. Let's see how we'll take a session. How about that? Yeah, right there. There you go. So thanks for that help. And let's not forget it is Mr. John Boozy who has brought you this fine broadcast app. So any of you other set of courses streamers out there looking for a very useful tool, I can't hardly recommend it enough. Of course, upgrades coming all the time. This battle continues to rage back here. Things as I keep an eyeball on the scoring pylon. Don't worry. We'll switch over to anything that seems super relevant toward the front. There's, of course, that battle brewing over 5th. As Olsen now has got through Ekman, who was running a little further up. He was running in that 5th spot, but it is now Olsen through. And I have to be honest with you, I thought that one of those guys, Olsen, Ekman, one of those guys would be able to put a little bit of heat on Lekmansky with the weight, but I mean, Kevin Lekmansky is showing just great pace. The weight, no weight. I would call it a little inconsistent from Kevin this season, but here we go. Aaron Parsons looking to make the move off a bit of an Ekman mistake. Coming through the Rozier chicane, and he is going to get the pass made. Going into Lesmo 1, and of course Parsons, one of those carrying all that ballast tonight, but he's going to make the move stick, and it is Al Merrimon making a big move up through the field with kind of all the discombobulation we've had up there. And frankly now, Al Merrimon, the teammate du jour, as mentioned for PMR, kind of a musical chairs type situation for that team, but Chris Moses out, and Al Merrimon carrying the team hopes. And in a dismal, I thought Parsons was oh no, excuse me, Ekman. I thought he was hard to run them out on Parsons so much. So, let's see if I can camera. I don't know that I gotta say, I don't know that I like all the camera angles here at Monza, but Ekman looking to hang with Parsons, and if you want to get a good coach on the line, Parsons probably a pretty good guy to follow around this place. No stranger to success at Monza does Aaron Parsons have. So, now 6 laps in, I'll give you a quick update here. Just to remind you that this is NAGP TV's continuing 34 season 34 coverage. Monday Open Wheel Championship here. Here every Monday night. 9 p.m. Eastern. Of course, it's Al Merrimon typically doing the honors there in the main host seat, but he's out there on track tonight. Wanted to get a few laps in that Monza, so happy to take over the duties for him. I think we can all agree to cut him a little slack and let him get out there on track once or twice. Parsons now looking to make the move on Olsen for the 5th spot. Ekman closing in as well, and that is a saucy little battle that they've got going on there with Merrimon not too far behind. And I suspected really Al would have some pretty good pace. He did not get a ton of practice in, really just maybe an hours or 2 worth heading into the event, but I suspected his race pace might be pretty good relative to his qualifying pace, and he's definitely showing it. And nothing wrong with his racecraft as well, as Aaron Parsons is bobbing and weaving, looking to find a little bit of room. Headed into the first chicane. Looks like he will have the advantage on the inside. And Joel was having to take an abbreviated line, I would say. But Aaron Parsons is going to go through for that 6th position. So Team Brock Dam Bam continues there. What I missed toward the front. Or it was Houston that found his way through, but it's Taylor sticking with him. That's the deal. Now, only 7 laps in, but nonetheless, Matt Taylor is the type of guy, you give him enough laps, he is going to start to improve his pace. Drowning down the voice. Thanks for chiming in on that. We'll try to fix that without screwing anything else up. Again, I make no promises or guarantees. But we may have to look at that. We have to look at that a different day. I'll continue to kind of do it here or there, but I don't want to screw anything up in the meantime. So hopefully you can kind of hear. But then again, maybe you don't want to hear all that well, right? As it looks like it is now. Olsen under pressure. Merrimon looking to pick up the spot. Ekman might have given him a bit of a squeeze. bit of a squeeze. But Olsen will continue to hound. Of course, I'm sure it is a bit more drowned out here on the onboards. And it looks like it's now Olsen up to the 6th spot, so swapping positions pretty dramatically, as nobody really wants to solidify those positions in that spot just yet. Only 8 laps in, so decent ways to run. We don't want to miss what's going on with championship leader back here at DeGraw. Looks like he's pretty close to cracking the top 10. He is involved in a fight for Greg Myers, but don't want to miss what's going on, as they are really still bobbing and weaving over that 6th place Jesse Olsen. Ooh, taking a bit of a shallow line there going into a star. He had to back off a little bit, and that is perhaps going to allow him to fall into the clutches of Al Merrimon. Of course, we shouldn't actually gloss over the fact that Al is carrying 20 kilos. Oh, God. Yeah, that was a little close. Al not a lot of seat time here in the Lotus 79, so might have gotten the braking just a bit wrong there heading into Parabolica, but no harm, no foul, unfortunately. I'll try to take another second to watch this battle, try to up that audio a little bit. Let's see, I'm out of OBS volume. I'm out of Discord volume. And honestly, I don't want to jack with Windows settings. I don't want to take a chance and screw something up, so you know what? We're just going to have to... Okay, it's only one incognito. Okay, I got you. Well, Bull, unfortunately, you know what? We're just going to kind of live with it, and we'll just kind of stick with some of the camera views. How's that? We'll just kind of stick here, and hopefully that audio will be good enough for you, I hope. Whew, so a raucous start. Now only 10 laps in. Feels more like 110, but we have had just an incredible amount of action. Now, as we kind of transition into some of our strategy considerations, which these guys also are going to be considering, I tell you, it's probably on Mark DeGraw's mind right now, looking for that 10th spot. Frankly, didn't get a lot of driver feedback. It was kind of a little short notice for me on the broadcast as well, so usually I am able to get a little advanced scouting on some of the tire options. Look, the majority of guys are on the softs, but that might not mean much really at a place like Monza, because the tire wear is not going to be too excessive, and it's not going to generate a tremendous amount of heat. Although the way we've seen these guys navigate Lesmo 2, I'm sure they're generating some heat on that corner. But traditionally, softs could possibly mean a 2-stop strategy. But tonight, these guys, we've seen them over the course of the season run softs all the way sometimes to halfway. So, these guys could be setting up to run the softs to the halfway mark tonight, or they, again, as we've seen, it could be a 1-stop early and then switching on to the hards. So, we haven't seen hardly anybody in the field that I've noticed. I'll kind of go through quickly here. Anyways, on the hards. If you're unfamiliar with the broadcast app, by the way, the names at the bottom, of course, give you their relative position to where we're broadcasting, but also a few other news and notes in there. You see the weight distribution, the best lap that they've turned, the previous lap, so useful stuff there in that broadcast app, even as it's turned on. And while we're here, we might as well flash back to the lead, which really has shrunk a little bit. So last time we checked in, it was about 1.7 seconds up to John Houston to John Houston from Matt Taylor. Now within about a second. And as mentioned, Matt Taylor's the type of guy that he tends to run quicker as laps run away. And I think we're seeing exactly that. So, honestly, I have to say, I'd be a little surprised, given kind of what the relative times were in the week of practice, really to see John Houston out front and continuing to hold that lead. Honestly, because he wasn't really displaying that type of pure pace. Ooh, as we do have a bit of a shakeup going on now. Here for these positions, they're still unsettled, and something has happened. So Wathen now has gotten through to the 3rd position. And things shaken up a little bit. Aaron Parsons still holding down that 6th spot, but Ekman now to 5th, Lekmansky in 4th, and it's Olsen who has slipped back. Looks like he is the one who has run afoul, or was he back there? Maybe I got confused, but nonetheless, it is now a very close battle. A good nearly 4-way battle for that 4th spot. But Wathen threw up into the 3rd spot. And Lekmansky now continuing to kind of be gifted some positions. But Ekman looking to take one of those back, headed into Ascari, and this is going to be nip and tuck. He does get through that for that position temporarily, but we have seen Kevin Lekmansky, look, points position, kind of position on track. We've seen him be a guy over the course of the season more willing to fight than he is willing to give the position and go more the safety route, right? Not that one is worse than the other, but he has been one of the tougher passes this season. Joel Ekman getting it done there for 4th, and Parsons now looking to also take that spot. It's been a really great run up for Aaron Parsons. I would say with all the kind of the activity going on around Aaron Parsons, that it's been a very quiet but very methodical run up. It's kind of been the center of the storm, so to speak. And we have one of those looming, I know, off the East Coast, but he has kind of minded his own business and just kind of moved up, taking those spots when they've been available, and that's an important position for him. So. Particularly with teammate John Houston out front. They are, Aaron Parsons and John Houston, the main threat right now to Captain Clutch, Matt Taylor, and Mark DeGraw. So they are in need of some big-time points, and quite a bit of them, with just 3 rounds left to play. Parsons continuing to look for that spot. Let's take a quick moment now. Nearly a third of the way in, if we can, to make sure we know everybody's running out there on track, and maybe offer a bit of a recap here or there. So, John Houston continues to lead. That gap now back out to about 1.5, but it's held pretty darn steady. So John Houston doing a nice job there at the front. Nice job as well. Matt Taylor in 2nd place. John Wathen continues to hold down 2nd place, and this has been a great run for Wathen. I want to get a little bit into some points when you have another dull moment or two, but John Wathen suffering a bit back in points, but really not. He's hanging around the top 10, so he wants every single point that he can manage to get, and it would be a big night for him in that position. Joel Ekman continues to run 4th. Parsons now has come through for that spot. I think we just caught that as it happened. Coming into Rettifilio. I don't want to Italian misspelling I don't want to butcher them too bad, but I'll do the best I can. So Parsons now through to 5th place, relegating Lekmansky back into 7th. Olsen holding down 7th. Al Merrimon still runs 8th. And split battle. We did see a battle that might have been with lap traffic. We'll get to that here momentarily. So Al Merrimon there in 8th. Iggy Chiordia. Good thing we did our field rundown, or else we would have missed Iggy coming up to 9th, which is a very nice position for Iggy. You see just behind him, Gregory Myers and Mark DeGraw still involved in that fight over 10th. Mark DeGraw just cannot make any ground because of that weight. So it's a solid 45 kilograms for Mark DeGraw. And quickly as an aside, we missed what ended up being a very incredible race at the line last week there at Zandvoort. Again, I dropped the ball on that, but it was so close at the line between Mark DeGraw and Aaron Parsons that the timing and scoring could not decide who won the race. Right, so multiple sources declared each the winner, and we had to go to the instant video replay for confirmation, and Mark DeGraw did come away with that win by by mere microseconds, milliseconds. So last week's winner, Mark DeGraw, and a well-earned victory despite how close it was. But that has added a lot of weight to his machine, and now it looks like Joel Ekman is in the pits. So we did see that flash across the screen, and that could indicate a 2-stop race for Joel Ekman. So if I manage to miss that, don't let me forget to check back on that and see how that plays out. So that puts Chuck Carter now up to 12th spot. David Zahn showing really good pace in practice. Got bounced back there early off the start. May have been involved in that Chris Moses incident, not sure, but nonetheless has not been able to recover. So despite having that great pace, still running 13th. Jake Feemster, of course, was the second part of that Chris Moses shenanigans and contact there in turn 1. Don't know what happened, not going to call it one way or the other, but he has not recovered either. Probably had an early stop. We might have missed it, but in any case, it was Omar Gomez there running in the 16th spot. Oh, I missed Dale Ball. Don't want to do that in 15th. And Brian Story right now bringing up the rear, still on the lead lap. But a third of the way now through this race, he is quickly in danger of losing that lead lap. And so that is the way they run at the moment. And some battles going on here at the mid-pack. Al Merrimon, we see, has gotten through for the 7th spot after Joel Ekman pitted. And hopefully that wasn't for damage. Hopefully that was a scheduled stop. But in any event, that has moved everybody behind him up a position. And it is Gregory Myers looking to hold on to the spot. Or no, it is now Iggy Chiordia, excuse me. Let's make sure. Oh, no. Okay, I was right. I'm sorry. I got a little confused. I was on DeGraw, and he wasn't there. Okay. All right. I had the Global Sites taxi livery correctly cited, but my brain told me otherwise there for a second. So Iggy Chiordia now through Mark DeGraw, and that's a blow. That's a blow if you're Mark DeGraw. You want those positions, but he is just defenseless on the straights right now. Clearly much faster through anything that approaches something like a turn, but just getting eaten alive on the straights. And in some ways that kind of improves safety, because at least if they've got you on the straights, you can kind of pull over and mutter under your breath. But at least it keeps your little safeties through temporarily back to the 9th spot. So there's that. But still not able to really make a strong move forward as you like. As we see Matt Taylor now putting in the fast lap of the race as that gap back within a second. So now what do these guys do? Look, even if these guys can go to halfway on the softs, those tires are going to be giving up some grip. And the way we saw some of these guys struggling through Lesmo in that qualifying session, I got to think that they're going to be struggling through there in race conditions on low fuel and suspect tires, right? So if these guys are planning on taking these softs all the way to halfway, we haven't seen anybody besides Joel stop, then they're going to have to start exercising a little bit of caution, I would think. So if you're Matt Taylor, then how much do you push to try to claim that lead when there's still so many laps yet to run? Halfway is coming up here in another 8 or 9 laps, but that is 8 or 9 laps, and the tires are starting to go. I see a lot of guys now turning their best lap, so the fuel really starting to burn off, and these guys getting comfortable pushing for a little extra pace. It's going to flash back, and there's some red pop up there on our scoring pylon, which of course indicates the relative position on track and how close somebody is running to each other. But yeah, it's only the DeGraw-Myers battle, which has been going on here since the start of the race. Taylor thinking about it, maybe measuring. to set up for a possible pass in a lap or two, but he looked a little more comfortable. And you have to say, I think he does look a little bit more comfortable right now with the lower fuel load versus John Houston, because I would say both of them look equally comfortable there at the beginning of the stint. But you know, if you're not gonna make it a two-stop race, there's really no reason to take it deep, right? I mean, if you go beyond 1/3 of the race, odds are you're going to go ahead and just make it a one-stop, whether you take it, you know, a little early or a little late. So I would suspect all the rest of the runners now to be on that one-stop strategy if they haven't stopped by this point. Matt Taylor, he's sticking there now. Now that he's there, I don't think he's too interested in doing anything but keeping it as close as he can. Try to put a little extra pressure on, and I know we lose a little bit of audio, but let's switch up the pictures just a little bit. Makes the pass pretty clean coming into Parabolica. John Houston will have the opportunity here. Big. Okay, Houston taking it in. So this is just beyond 1/3 of a distance. Just beyond. So that's interesting. Does that indicate two-stop, or does that indicate taking it very long on a second stop? And I got to tell you, that does seem like a long way. So it's Matt Taylor through. Oh, and you know what? Okay, bunch of guys. Quite a few other guys stopping now. I saw Aaron Parsons cycle all the way up into second. So there we go. Wathan in as well, and he came in from the 3rd spot. And I think maybe we did miss another stop or two out there. Let's see. Merriman has stayed on track. Olsen has stayed on track. And now there's every possibility I will get confused at who's running where. So chime in on the chat and give me a nudge if I really seriously screw up on who's made a stop and who hasn't. But I think we got it. Wathan in, Ekman in. We just saw, of course, Houston in. So yeah. We'll watch Taylor here, see if he stops a little early. But yeah, lap 17. I mean, look, if you're going to go halfway, I got to think he'd be running a little bit harder on the softs. And actually, let's check in with Houston, see if he's made some tire choice other than the softs. But no, he's on the softs. So I got to think it's another stop for John Houston. Maybe the tire wear was enough here on those softs, where guys are thinking that two stops are going to be a little safer strategy for them. And right now, no close battles on track. We're going to have to wait for the rest of the stops to cycle through before we get back. Ooh. I'm not sure if Mark DeGraw was taking some evasive action or got a little loose there coming off of Scary, but okay, Taylor in. So there you go. I think I saw Parsons in. Yes, okay. So there you go. I got to think that this is early for one stop. So now I'm going to change my mind and say it's looking like maybe a two stop for the majority of the field. So they're more or less on strategy here at this moment. Everybody's in. Merriman's in. Olsen staying out, and he is running on the softs. So I gotta tell you, we saw Jesse Olsen, kind of yo-yoing a little bit with positions, showing pretty good pace through the twisties, but giving up some pace on the straights, perhaps. So maybe he had a little bit of extra fuel on board that Lotus 79. I tell you right now, fuel load is going to make a huge difference if you aren't carrying kilograms of success ballast. Or it could... Olsen didn't have a stop early, did he? I believe... No. So he could have been carrying a little extra fuel, which would have slowed his pace early. Again, it makes a big difference here to your overall pace on this Lotus 79 chassis. No question about it. So, the majority of the stops have cycled through. This is your virtual first place runner. when Olsen does choose to come in, and let's see what that gap is like. It was Matt Taylor about, well, actually he had just made the pass, so is virtually tied, but he has picked up a little bit of time in that pit stop rotation over John Houston, so it's now a good 3 seconds ahead of John Houston. It's a very good stop for Matt Taylor. Or perhaps he did save a little bit of time in the pits on fuel. Perhaps he did stop a lap or two later than John Houston. And Olsen now does come in, so that I'm still calling it 2 stops for the field. But that would look like it's a relatively fast stop for Jesse Olsen. So I got to think these guys are only running whatever fuel they need to make this 2-stop strategy work. And that will save you a bit of time in the pits. He was going to slot ahead of Aaron Parsons. And so that is a nice move up for Jesse Olsen. It was, I believe, we saw Parsons jump Jesse Olsen just prior to that pit stop rotation. So a good move for Jesse Olsen. And let's make sure we know who everybody's running now that those pit stops have cycled through. It is still John Houston in second. It is Ekman now running ahead of John Wathen, who made one of the earlier stops right around lap 15. But Joel Ekman has gotten through now John Wathen for that third position, relegating him to fourth. And Jesse Olsen, that battle behind, is quite a ways back, really, so a good 5 seconds back. But right now, that is a very nice little battle. There's another, between him and Wathen. I believe that's lap traffic there, kind of in between. Right in front of him, Omar Gomez. So Omar Gomez kind of in the ooh, a lot of curbing there for Wathen, coming off the inside of the Scary, but nonetheless. So Olsen there, Parsons saw him come out in 6th, and Kevin Lekmansky now is running 7th. So we saw him as high as 4th. There in the early running, but back in 7th. If memory serves, 7th place was his starting position on the grid. So Kevin Lekmansky not giving anything up from the starting position, and again, important points he needs to hold on to, carrying quite a bit of success at Dallas relative to all of those running ahead of him, except really for Parsons. And just that one position up the road, Al Merriman's going to cycle back to 8th. And it is Gregory Myers picking up now a little bit of time on Mark DeGraw. So finally, Gregory Myers doesn't have DeGraw directly on his gearbox. You can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief. And Feemster, let's just check in on Feemster's overall scoring. He may have stopped here early. It looks like he has. It looked like he dove in very early, so he hasn't quite made that second pit stop yet. And maybe Jake can, after that great qualifying, having to do some damage control involved in that early incident. Maybe he's adjusted his strategy. He's going to try to take it just with one more stop, take it as deep as he can to try to at least eliminate one of those pit stops. See how far he can recover up the grid, but a full minute behind the leader is really come unraveled for what otherwise would have been just a great night for Jake Feemster. That's too bad after he has showed such great pace. I think that's no, I thought I saw that John Player special livery off, but I think it was somebody else. So things have settled down here just a little bit. Again, it was Taylor taking the advantage in that pit stop rotation. And really, if you look at it, it's only another 8 laps to go before some of those guys who stopped at lap 15 will be, within that lap, another 15 laps, right? In a 15-lap window. So you see those guys who elected to stop on lap 15 do stop here on lap 30, and that's coming up here before too long already. So that's interesting, but nonetheless, it's still very good points being collected right now by Keyrock Dam. Houston in 2nd, Taylor in 6th. Parsons in 6th, excuse me, over Captain Clutch. DeGraw, he needs to find a way past Myers and to get a little bit of luck to pick up a couple positions as part of that championship leading team with Matt Taylor. Of course, when your teammate's in the lead, collecting those big big points. A solid 24, of course, is paid to the winner, as well as a bonus point for laps led, which Taylor's really not in line for at the moment, but certainly that pole position gave him an extra bonus point as well. So, race is settled a little bit, but, you know, so far so good. A lot of action here early. All the championship contenders doing what it is they need to do to do the best they can, really, right? Some of them having a lot of weight, having difficulty really moving forward. And I think you're actually absolutely right, John. It's really on Houston now. We saw that relative pace between Houston and Taylor be so close. And if you're talking about 3 seconds, really as the second place guy right now, you're thinking that's a pretty tough hill to climb, right? 3 seconds. Well, that's, I mean, you can see the guy. It's way less than a straightaway, but in terms of the first sector relative time and how much it took Matt Taylor to like gain a second and a half, you're thinking, how am I possibly going to gain 3 seconds over the course of another 20 laps? So, as much as you hate to say it, as close as it actually is, it's like, Houston, Lesmo 2. Almost claiming another, but you know what? It must have done something for Matt Taylor too, because suddenly that gap came down in a big way. Picked up a whole second, and we saw Matt Taylor, Houston, excuse me, have problems off Lesmo too, so I think Matt Taylor must have had a bit of problems himself, so that's going to help out John Houston's cause a lot. He's going to want to see a lot more of that from Matt Taylor out front, and it's got to be Myers back there. I think Ekman's close. Yeah, it is Ekman. So, I have to remind myself. This is Joel Ekman, part of that Global Sites taxi team. Now, this is your 5th place running championship team. But the livery I associated more with Gregory Myers. But yeah, it is Joel Ekman making that nice move up the field. I mean, he was running back as far as 8th in the opening stint. So. Remind myself that he's done some good work moving up through pit stops and others' misfortunes, and it is only 6 seconds now. I think Joel was really well served with a very good pit stop time. I mean, really, how much can you gain or lose, right? But it is just a full blast. I mean, the set of course is going to kind of take care of the pit stops for you, which is kind of annoying. We tried to fix that. Couldn't really come up with a good system. We had a couple options, but in terms of the automated pit lane control system, right? We are looking for solutions to that. But you still can stop a little short, come up a little short. You, of course, can slide a little back. The fueling is going to make a difference, how much fuel you take, and some of your strategy considerations. So, I mean, very clearly, when you're dealing with times this close, we see between like Houston and Taylor, for instance, makes a difference. If you can save half a second, 0.7 of a second, it's going to make a difference out there on track. I think Joel Ekman has put in a pretty good stop. Wathan, I think you have to say now he has really slipped off. So you got to think that's more of a mistake, because we saw that gap actually quite a bit more back to Jesse Olsen when we did our little rundown after stop. So I think Wathan made a bit of a mistake to slip back to 4th, because he was running much closer to Joel Ekman than that. Pretty fortunate, whatever happened, probably to be able to still be running in that 4th spot, but it has certainly tightened up the gap. And if you're either Jesse Olsen or Aaron Parsons, you're thinking, okay, well, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. You can pick up some positions from a competitor who's in trouble. You don't ever really want to see it unless you're running behind that guy in a race. And then maybe you don't mind so much, right? So that battle has tightened up a little bit, and quickly now the draw here towards the end of this second stint, I should say. laps are starting to wind down now, pretty, relatively substantially, really. Of course, I mentioned 15 laps being halfway. That would only be the case if we were running 45 laps. Clearly we aren't, so 12 would be more apt, I think. But still putting on the pressure for that one place. If you're Mark DeGraw, it's like, come on. And 10 spots back, surely somebody up there can run into some trouble. Give me just one spot. Just one. I mean, get me out of looking at the back of this gearbox of the Global Sites taxi. So, Joel Ekman is definitely committing to that two-stop strategy. I gotta tell you, I know I screwed up a little bit on the total lap distance, and what was halfway or was it 1/3, but still, it's a relatively early stops for some of these guys coming in, and clearly they can make it to halfway, but nonetheless, I think for some of them it's going to be a bit of a stretch on the softs. I mean, Ekman is doing it for safety's sake. It earned him third place, and believe me, that is down to pace with fuel saving, right? Such a big difference on these Lotus 79s. But irregardless if they can make it or not, that does cycle John Wathen back up into the third spot. I suppose that position does gain a bit more significance now that it's tightened up a little bit, third to fifth, because that does now equal a podium. Now maybe for Aaron Parsons, you're already carrying around quite a bit of weight. Maybe you don't necessarily want to see the weight, but you also do want the points. It's frankly been kind of a tough season for Aaron Parsons and T-Brock Dambam, and he is a little bit on the back foot right now in terms of overall, individual drivers' championship points. So sometimes when you get towards the end of the season, you don't want to take the weight, but sometimes you have to for that good finish because you need the points. There's just nothing for it. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I'm kind of in a similar situation on Thursday right now. Gotta, if at all possible, with weight on the car, you can get the good finish. You just got to take it. And just live with the weight going forward. Quick recap, this being our 10th round of the championship, just 2 remaining to decide what is an extremely tight affair. It's Mark DeGraw leading the way and Kevin Lichmansky in second place, but that's not the way they run on track right now. Right now it is Matt Taylor leading this championship as they run on track, so it is really nip and tuck, and every single point gained or lost, and it's 2-point swings inside the top 10 makes a big difference when things are running this close. Again, just some 5 points separating the top 4 championship contenders. So tight battle indeed as those guys continue to run 3rd through 5th. Very close on track. Not too much else going out there. With just a handful of laps remaining, this one is going to click off pretty quickly, being the high-speed nature of the track. So you can see on your scoring pylon, it is John Houston. We're keeping an eye on that lead just in case something happens. But vacillating that 2 to 2.7 seconds back, as running up on some lap traffic now. David Zahn smartly going to get out of the way. Brian Stewart, similar livery there. But nonetheless, getting out of the way, keeping a good close eye on the mirrors for this battle coming through. Yeah, all within 2 seconds And that is, I think, from what I've seen, no more than a medium-sized bobble at Lesmo 2. Such high-speed carry, right, to the competitor that does not make that mistake behind you. That gap closes very rapidly. But it would be a good result here for Jesse Olsen. Again, it's a fill-in role, and I suppose you have to say, kind of keeping the French Connection team hopes alive to, to some respect. Dismal, but still there. Again, if you are a pretty consistent viewer, have lost Philippe Samard. Strong championship contender over the entire course of the season. That team fighting with Captain Clutch, gaining ground throughout every single race here, through the middle part of the season certainly, but Philippe Samard has called it quits for the rest of the season. Hopefully everything is okay for him on the home front. Haven't heard a lot from him and the reasons for that, but teammate Ian Jolicoeur, he secured a replacement in Jesse Olsen for the races that Ian was going to miss. But Philippe Samard bowing out has kind of taking that team out of the championship fight. So still second, but that is only provisionally, as they'll certainly give up second place in that championship at the conclusion of this race here tonight. So 6 laps left to go. The podium still very much up for grabs. That lead still within just 2.5 seconds of being decided. And coming up now on some lap traffic, I believe that is Dale Ballwig circulating there just off of the lead lap. These guys will have to navigate that traffic, as I believe that really Jesse Olsen has closed the distance to that podium spot, and if these two get to fighting in any way, shape, or form, Aaron Parsons will quickly close the distance, as they will have to be a little careful around one another. So far from decided, I think, for that podium position, and who knows if something happens if those three tangle up. Lekmansky could have an outside shot of picking up a couple more spots here, which would do wonders for his championship hopes. Wow. So coming down to it, of your championship leaders, Matt Taylor is looking to gain the absolute most, again, in that virtual lead as they run on track for this Season 34 championship with the races running out. They have all cleared that lap traffic. Jesse Olsen continues to hound, to lurk. And Wathen, a bit of a mistake on the curbing there through Lesmo 1. That's not going to hurt you as much as if you do it on Lesmo 2, but it's certainly not going to help. And, probably chief among the problems is just getting out of rhythm, right? Oops. It could take you a couple corners to recover from sometimes, or making that type of mistake. Jesse Olsen not gaining perceptively through the Ascari chicane, so John Wathen looking pretty good through there. And that was a bit of a mistake there through Parabolica for John Wathen. Bit of a mistake on entry, cost him a few tenths. Taylor still out front by that 2.5 seconds. Olsen continuing to close now, surely inside the draft of John Wathen, and we did see the effect. Not taking advantage of the draft enough to make some type of move that particular time, but he is there now. And if Wathen is showing better pace for Ascari, he is going to have to kind of put some of his third place eggs into that particular basket at Ascari if he wants to hold on to this position, I think. because he does not want Olsen inside the draft here. Really coming off a Ascari or Lesmo too. Didn't see if he got on the curbing that time. I don't think he did. Nip and tuck now. The tires going away. The fuel load making the car a little lighter, and I think that was a pretty good run for Jesse Olsen coming off Lesmo 2 that time. Looks like he might be outside of range just a little bit. Yeah, Olsen a little scrubbed a little off the line, scrubbing the front end a little off the line. Will it hurt him? I think that did hurt him just enough. Gonna keep Wathen out, at least for the moment. Olsen in the draft. Is it going to be good enough this time? I think he might be a little closer than he was last time. No! No! So... Okay, Olsen clearly did not think that he was at fault. He's going to continue on. I'm not going to call it one way or the other, but it is Olsen now through for that third spot. And Parsons, another beneficiary of some mistakes in front, was gifted a position there. Wathen just not in a position really to dive back in front. Or I think more carnage would have ensued. So actually pretty heads-up move there by John Wathen. To be pretty heads up and let Aaron Parsons through for that position, but this podium spot not quite settled. Still at the front, it is Houston a few tenths off of Matt Taylor out in front, so we're keeping an eye on that as well as we continue to follow this third place battle. I think Parsons now may have a few designs on that, but nonetheless an unfortunate coming together there, and that is something here late in the race which would tend to elicit some submissions in the competition committee unless one driver is pretty sure they're at fault. And again, I'm not going to call it either way on that one, but Wathen choosing to defend there at the inside line, so he figured that Olsen did have a better run on him this time, and I tend to agree. I think Olsen did have a better run than he had on the previous lap, and just it happens, you know. So these guys now this battle now some 20 seconds off of the lead. So Taylor and Houston out front have done great, but I gotta tell you, Aaron Parsons right now has also done a pretty great job versus Jesse Olsen, because I don't believe Jesse Olsen has any weight on board. He doesn't, in fact. So Aaron Parsons carrying around 30 kilograms has, I think, really been the class of the field in terms of those carrying weight tonight. Has really managed to stay out of trouble, which some of the other guys with weight have not. And shoot, I kind of forgot to do a kind of a mid-race field rundown there, but you know the names. You've watched long enough to pick them up on the scoring pylon there, and you don't want to miss anybody who does get out here week after week and do battle. Respect and appreciate all the guys that get out here week after week and put in all the effort and make it a fun race. You know, without the drivers, of course, there is no race to be had. So thank you to those guys for showing up. Though of course we can't get pictures on everybody that may not deserve it. It is right now the pictures kind of need to stay on this third place battle. It's the best one on track, and the important spots, you know, if you're going to finish somewhere, might as well be on the podium, right? So these guys are going to do battle for one last lap here, and see who's going to come out victorious. If Aaron Parsons does finish in this position here in fourth, he is not going to drop any of those 30 kilograms going forward next week into Watkins Glen. He's going to keep all that 30 kilograms on board, and that's a good notation there back to Lukmansky, because you know what, it is Wathen who's slipping kind of precipitously back all of a sudden. Yeah, maybe that's damage, but he's really slow. I don't know if that's just down to damage or if that's down to fuel, because I got to be honest with you, oh, it's Chuck Carter. Sorry, I thought that was a pass for Wathan for a second. No, I think Wathan's going to be safe. I was going to say, I didn't see that much damage. Didn't look like he's running that far off pace. So I think Wathan, maybe more than anything else, has taken a bit of a breather back there, going, well, I do have a bit of wing damage now, and might as well Zahn finally turn in some good laps late in the race. And showing what his pace could have been. Back there in 13th for David Zahn. Just not quite able to complete the deal. I think he got caught up in some trouble early on, as Parsons now looking to make the pass going into Parabolica. Certainly looking to keep it close. So these guys, one more lap to run, as Matt Taylor now is on his final lap. John Houston is going to slip off a little bit, and I think John Houston now completely happy with second, but he should be. Not going to be too disappointed, I don't think, with John Houston with that second place, especially if teammate Aaron Parsons can slip into the third spot. That's going to be big points for that team going forward. And their championship hopes for this season 34 championship. Jesse Olsen quickly, I just want to look. Yeah, Jesse Olsen, of course, in the fill-in role for Ian Jolicoeur, is not collected a lot of points for himself. Still desperately holding on, trying to get points for the French connection. But I mean, really, he's out there playing for pride, right? He wants that third place podium, so he has a third place podium. Matt Taylor, last time through Ascari here for in this season 10th round rather of this championship. As Parsons continues to hound, going to have two more opportunities. One at Ascari. It's looking dim for him here, but we saw perhaps Olsen not getting through Ascari quite as well as John Wathan. And does not get through very well right there. I think Aaron Parsons is going to have a possible run here. Now, Parsons with a lot of weight. We saw him very close to Parabolica last time. Matt Taylor does take the win here. Round 10, we're going to watch to see what happens for this final podium spot. Parsons through momentarily. Olsen fighting back on the inside. Another close finish for Aaron Parsons. Closest finish we had ever last week for Aaron Parsons. Not going to be that close this time. Olsen's going to hang on to the spot. Wow. Olsen third, Parsons fourth, Wathan fifth. Mansky, nice run for sixth. Great run. Al Merrimon and a fill-in duty for PMR. Going to come home seventh. He's got to be happy with that. Joel Ekman's going to slip back to eighth with that two-stop strategy. Didn't work out, but hey, they finished inside the top 10. We'll take that. Mark DeGraw. Oh, we missed it. Finally picked up that Myers position. Got to be disappointing for Myers, really. I'm sure he would have loved to have hung out there for the duration, but not going to happen there. And Myers gonna round the top 10. Hey, nice run for Iggy Chiordia coming home in 11th. That really is a nice run for him. He got a little bit of help with guys in front, but also put in some nice pace. Had nice laps, kept it pretty clean. Zahn back there in 12th, and Feemster, unfortunately, gonna be taking 13th. But respect and props, Jake Feemster, sticking out what was otherwise a very tough night. Now I'm gonna try to drag up Matt Taylor here if he's still around. It can be a little difficult sometimes dragging people around on Discord, but he's pretty close. All right, Matt Taylor, do you copy there, buddy?
I got you, Brad.
All right, so it's just me here solo tonight. No Al Merrimano, who of course was out there running around with you on track. But you know what? You didn't have much opportunity really to see much of Al Merrimon because you were battling for the lead out there for most of the night. Talk us through it. Tough battle out there, really, with John Houston, and that thing could have gone either way, really, the whole way through.
Absolutely. I stalled it off the line, which was awful, and then Jake and Chris got together, and I thought I had enough room to sneak to the left, and I apparently just visually just misjudged it and tapped him and hit him, and it basically broke the front wing loose, and the whole front end of the car was vibrating. the entire first stint, and I thought for sure I was a sitting duck on the straightaways, but I didn't lose anything. I lost most of my mid-corner rotation out of it, and I was surprised. It was a big adjustment. The car I was hoping the car would come to life once the rears wore out, and it did, for sure, and pitted, and then I struggled after the pits to adjust back to a car that had the front grip back in it.
Sure. Yeah, of course, that can happen. And we did see you close, I would say, be a little bit more comfortable towards the end of that first stint. And you're absolutely right how the handling characteristics can change, particularly on this particular type of car. And we've seen it in the open wheel series the last three seasons, really fuel weight, winner's weight ballast, penalty weight, and fuel load and handling from damage. Get readjusted to that can be difficult.
Yeah, for sure. And the car really didn't wake up until the rears wore off of it, and some of that fuel came out of it, and it was pretty tight to start with, especially with that front damage. But I had a hard time keeping focus tonight. I saw myself kind of down compared to those first stint times, and kind of telling myself that's not right. The car's got to be faster than that. And so I was overdriving the car pretty bad there at the start of the stint.
Yeah.
And finally got myself to settle back down.
Yeah, easy to do. So just final thing here. So it was important for you to manage to keep focus, though. And really 2 rounds left to go. So this was an important race for you, being one of those championship contenders without the weight ballast. You had to come away with a good result, but now you are going to be saddled with that weight. But the trade-off is now it looks like you're going to be in the lead. Unfortunately, teammate Mark DeGrasse slipping back a little bit. 2 rounds to go. What do you have to do the remaining races here to try to nab yourself that championship?
Let's just not do what I've done at the last couple races here at Hockenheim and Zandvoort, and avoid big mistakes, and just avoid disaster, and try to continue to run clean. This was a really bad track to have weight at. It's really hard to overcome what you lose on the straightaways here.
Yeah, clearly.
I think the weight sets up well. Should we trade weight back and forth, I should be lighter at the final race, and should have an advantage there. So we'll see how it plays out.
Well, it was a thrilling race to watch. Congratulations again, and best of luck going forward.
Thank you, Brad.
All right, so there you have it. That's a pretty good race. We saw some gaps open up there a little bit, but some good action late, especially for that final podium position. And it was a great run for not only Matt Taylor, but really John Houston. Finishing second, he's going to be disappointed not to come away with that win, I'm sure. But still, very strong team effort for him and teammate Aaron Parsons, who are going to really collect some very nice points to try to nab themselves another team classification with those 2 rounds remaining. So, thank you so much for bearing along with me, flying solo here, running the pictures, and me inevitably screwing a few things up here or there. It's going to be Al Merriman back on the broadcast, I'm sure, next week. So we're all going to be looking forward to that. And we're going to be at one of our favorite tracks, of course, out there at Watkins Glen, and all the drivers are going to be really excited for that one too. That track, I think, is going to elicit some great racing and some pretty intriguing battles and setup strategy as well. So tune in for that if you can, and please don't forget the exciting Thursday coverage that we have going on as well. A very close championship for that season 34 as well. So there you go. You got both those Monday and Thursday. We look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks again. Good night.